The following program was funded through a grant from the Springfield Cable Endowment.
Springfield original music scene was, as of a couple of years ago, there was no original music scene really to be heard of. There was a lot of cover bands playing and really making a name for themselves in the area, and it seemed to be like a breeding ground for a lot of national touring cover bands. So it was pretty non-existent in my opinion. You know, there was no places to go hear the Springfield sound or original sound.
No one seems to be helping original music in the Springfield area, only helping cover bands because that's where the money is. There's no money in original music, and it's a sad situation.
I can't say that it was lamed in the fashion where there wasn't any talented people. There was some good bands, and I was in one of those bands that was playing here, but the support for the scene was just awful. Because the support wasn't there for it, you know, you could be really good. I mean, we had some really good music to offer that was for sale, but you know, people weren't really supporting it, I think, to the extent that they could have.
Well, it all came about actually in a discussion with a few people. We were just discussing how cool it would be if we could just at least get the bands together to talk and support each other's shows.
Christopher DeMauro is the founder of the Music Coalition. He is the one who pulled the people together for the first meeting and said, this is what the Music Coalition is.
Chris called me up one time and asked me if I wanted to get involved with original music and the promotion of original music.
So our very first concept was to have a meeting and have everybody sign a contract that said that they would come to the performances by the other bands. And we could pledge things where if each band brought 4 people to their performance, then we could guarantee a venue of 200 capacity, no matter where we played. So that's how the whole conversation came about. Basically what we started to do was just make an announcement in the room that it's the Music Coalition, and we came up with this musicians' unity supporting innovative creativity. Then we came up with a statement, or a pledge of allegiance, if you will, that was boldly causing awareness, respect, and prosperity for original creations united.
I came into the coalition a few months after it started. I thought it would be a great thing to be involved with. And I also, at the same time, thought I would have a lot to offer, you know, with my experience of playing out for a number of years.
I had felt like I was alone for years trying to promote original music, and it was great to come here and be involved with other people and just meet other musicians who had the same problems and try and use their connections to make original music go somewhere.
Leukemia was dear to me because I have a woman in my life that's been in my life for about 3 years now, and her child, who is 7, has leukemia, and she's diagnosed with pretty full-blown leukemia. You know, it's just a 7-year-old child that's bubbling in life, and when you see someone who probably you know, or you're told isn't going to make it because of the disease that they have no control over, that really kind of sends a message home for me of like, wow, I'm really lucky, even though, you know, things are tough, I'm lucky to be able to pursue the dream that I'm pursuing. When I brought it to the coalition, I was really nervous that they weren't going to dig it, and it was like, oh, what's this? But really the response was overwhelming, and I think it gave power to the coalition, and really what it did was it gave something bigger than themselves to work for, bigger than life, bigger than their own careers. We got together, we had the meetings, the people were, you know, attending the meetings, and we had attendance of about, I'd say about 40 people in the meeting. A lot of bands were coming down, and it was time for us to start being heard. How I looked at it was, all right, if people are going to book cover bands or whatever, you know, it's going to be hard for me to prove myself in those markets. So I looked for clubs that were dead on a Friday or Saturday night. And, you know, McNar's TikTok, other than their Thursday night blues jam, was dead on the weekends, and they weren't doing live music.
You know, it sounded like a great idea to me. He said he'd, you know, bring in, you know, 3 bands on a Friday night and get a couple bucks at the door, and all proceeds would go to the leukemia fund. And it just sounded, you know, like a pretty noble idea.
When I went to him with the coalition thing, he, you know, his response was pretty fair, and he just gave me a shot at it, and I went with it. And, you know, we ended up being very successful down there.
I wasn't sure what to expect. I didn't know what the crowd was going to be like, because we've never done the rock and roll, which most of the coalition bands seemed to be at that time. I was a little worried, a little skeptical the first night, but it worked out good. I mean, it drew a real nice crowd of people. You know, very diverse crowd, let's put it that way, and very respectful of the bar and you know, and the people here. We keep a small staff on. We don't have bouncers and all that, and you know, they proved we didn't really need it, you know, for that crowd and all.
It was a chance for to get 3 bands of the coalition out there and to be able to put Music Coalition Presents these 3 bands.
It was cool. It was a good feeling. It was just like, you know, everybody was out there supporting and just so much energy. You know, everybody was getting into it. Parents were there. You know, it was a riot. It was wicked fun.
Their shows, they definitely help out business. I mean, they brought in a crowd. They have their own crowd, their followers.
It's the way the coalition's supposed to be. It's just like, doesn't matter what kind of music you listen to. It's just like, you know, everybody was there supporting you just because you were original.
It was a chance to be heard and to show a little bit of, kind of test out if this whole theory of the coalition was going to in fact really work on the street level. In conversation, things always sound good, but when it comes time for the action is when you really find out if the proof is in the pudding. And happily, it really was.
Tonight I'm checking out the open mic at Bodan's, which is an original open mic that's happening. A lot of Music Coalition bands are here, and I'm really excited to attend and hear everybody.
Someone had heard about the coalition, and they came down and said, we want to do an open mic, we'll provide a PA, and just bring your people down, and we started that down at Bodan's.
There's a lot of talented young musicians and older musicians, original music, whether it be whatever style, and the Music Coalition is something that everybody that's in that vibe should be into.
The evenings were beneficial because it gave us a place to be every Wednesday night and do what we do. You know, it gave a chance for bands to come down and jam and be heard.
And I think that what's happening here with the Music Coalition and the open jams is we're getting original music for the first time in, what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Playing in the Springfield scene. I think that's really a great thing.
We decided to do a compilation CD just to get the bands out there. We ended up with 15 local original artists on that CD from the Pioneer Valley. And it being sold for only $5 a piece, it really gave people an opportunity to hear 15 different bands. It ended up in jukeboxes all over the area. And, you know, that's a presence. People see that, and they get to pick, you know, one of their bands and then hear it. And that's That's a powerful thing, because that was not present in the marketplace before the Music Coalition. All the bands pretty much paid for themselves to be on the CD, and we had a system where they recouped their money back for paying for the CD, and $1 of each of those sales went to the Leukemia Society of America. The Music Coalition did and participated so much in raising money for Leukemia Society of America in their first year of operations with them that we were asked and invited down to accept a major award from the Leukemia Society of America. All of the major Leukemia Society of America donors were there, like Aetna, McDonald's Corporation, a lot of heavy hitters that I got to sit in the room with, and that was kind of, I was like, wow, you know, I mean, here's someone who donated $50,000 last quarter, and I maybe donated over 1,000 together with the coalition, and we're in the same room being respected in the same light.
We are very happy to be working with them and to be a partner with them to cure this disease.
It was actually really cool, and it was great to be awarded for something that I really didn't expect any award for.
And now we will hear what a few local bands have to say about the Music Coalition. Have a nice day.
Everyone's got each other's back. It's like, you know, you come to my show, go to your show, and it's a family, you know? People just love and respect each other, take care of each other, but there's no one at the head telling everyone else what to do.
The basis of somewhat of a union, but instead of protecting a lazy worker, it's protecting the guys who really want to do something.
Basically, it's just like everybody's looking out for everybody else. And that, you know, might not mean much, but when we go to a show, we play a show. It's hard to get a crowd. What we kind of do is guarantee a crowd, because everyone from the coalition will go to a show, and they'll support you.
Rock and roll. Original style, served up by the city.
It's gotten people that I think have been very disjointed and trying to do their own thing, and pretty much tried to get them together. So pretty much we do things together. You know, when you have more voice and you join, you know, you're a group, you know, than you do just wandering around aimlessly.
I believe it is in his last original band some respect, because cover bands are the ones getting most of the hits, but as far as original musicians are concerned, we don't get that much respect, and Coalition has built better.
We don't want to do covers because, as far as I'm concerned, the cover bands got covers.
There's nothing more fulfilling than being able to go out there and express yourself and to have it followed up by your music, to just be out there and be yourself. There is nothing else in the world like that.
The goal of our band is to play original music and have fun. The coalition can help. They certainly can't hurt. Each band has to try, and each band has to give to the coalition too. It can't be just a take. You know, you have to either be the person who's going to distribute flyers, have it in the newsletter, or put the word out on the street to get the original music out so people can hear it. If no one hears it, hey, you might be trying to sell it.
That's enough.
When we put together the coalition, it was like, you know, let's do something bigger than all the other cover bands in town. Let's plan a show at the Paramount Theater.
He came up with the concept. He said, all right, it's time to do that show at the Paramount. And I said, okay, hope you're ready. We asked them formally through written and verbal
content of having a program at Paramount Theater and what we intended on happening that evening. And they wholeheartedly accepted with enthusiasm and got right behind us.
We sat down and talked and went over some of the particulars, what we required at the theater in order to do this. Just to give him a ballpark figure of what he would be dealing with as far as expenses. Music Coalition, I had never heard anything about it. I am not familiar with the bands in this area, and they were, so we were trusting them 100%.
The promotion for the Paramount show is absolutely intense.
I was very impressed with the amount of publicity, the amount of advertising they did for this particular show.
The promotion was street level. It was phone teams organized by the coalition calling businesses for their support, going and soliciting businesses for their donorship and support, putting up and hanging up flyers and posters all over the western Massachusetts, southern New England area. Channel 40 stepped forward with some great ads. Media One stepped forward with some fantastic ads. Advocate stepped forward with some ads. So we ended up getting a lot of press support and media support on the performance, and I think that really attributed to a lot of the ticket sales. The meetings were very intensive, not a lot of time wasted. Get in, sign in, and get down to business. A little bit nervous, obviously, because we only have 5 days before the show. We've got a lot to accomplish in that time. Everybody should know that the 28th, which is Friday, we have a dress rehearsal at the Paramount. It's going to be from 6 to 11. I want to basically, anyone who's part of this show should basically figure out that Friday after 6 until Sunday morning, you're busy. And make no plans or any of that because we got a ton of stuff to do. Basically, last meeting before the show, everybody was turning in their money from their ticket sales. Everybody was just coming back to me and saying, you know, X, Y, and Z have been done, so-and-so has been flyered, you know, all of those things. Security's being covered. It was just a basic checklist of making sure everything was going on. A week before the show started, we had some problems. So what's happening for me right now is that I'm on the phone, you know, all day, and I'm getting at least 5 to 7 to 8 bands a day calling me that maybe have passed by a coalition show or a coalition meeting, maybe paid $5 due once or twice, or just been here in one way or another, and they want to know why they're not playing the show, or they'll say to me, what do you mean I'm not playing the show?
We had all these bands that never showed up to a meeting, and then all of a sudden there's a show at the Paramount. Then, wow, bands are coming out of the woodwork.
And I can't even fathom 5 days before the show, as you say, 20 hours a day, this guy saying me all over the telephone, and you know who you are, and if the reason why you're not on this is because you didn't work for it.
We wanted to really pull off a dress rehearsal, and I kind of knew that it wasn't going to happen.
The guys didn't show up till about 5 o'clock for rehearsal, dress rehearsal. John and Chris, because they've never done something like this before, wanted to come in and actually go through with all of these bands, the stage changes and how we're going to do it, how much time was involved. It was real interesting to watch that type of thing. They learned as they went.
The people from the theater were showing me how the curtain works, and we were changing some curtains around so that we could pull off the different bands. You know, we had bands set up behind another curtain, and we moved them forward and everything, and I was setting up some props for my show, some extra lighting.
I'm in awe of the place. I've never been in the Paramount Theater before, and this is just a huge venue. We're so psyched for original music from this area to be having such a great venue to play. I mean, this is where we belong.
I expect a full house and a good show for everybody that attends. It should be a really good time. It's geared to the crowd and making money for leukemia, and that's what it's all about.
What I want to have is a full dress rehearsal at 3 o'clock because not all the bands are here. 14 bands, I think is pretty much in favor. We run a 3-hour dress rehearsal before the show. We're done by 6, we open the doors for 7, and we rock till about 12 o'clock. Lines forming outside the door, security team all in their assigned positions. Backstage, everybody checking in. I had a backstage manager, Saxon Von Saint, who was checking in every band coming in. At 6 o'clock, not all the bands were there. I had people coming in on buses and planes and trains from all over the country for certain bands playing.
This show, I think, is a little bit bigger than they're used to dealing with. So they really don't understand the time concept and the multiple rehearsals that you need for a kind of a production like this. I've dealt with those kind of productions, and you need a lot of rehearsal. If this show comes off, I think it will be the dam breaker that breaks open the original music scene. And there's a lot riding on the show. If everybody stays cool, we'll get through it.
The opening band wasn't there until about 5 minutes of 7. Plus one of their musicians didn't show up. One of the bands, Cottonwood, which I was so excited to have play, the guy was booked to work his regular job that night at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, why didn't you just call in sick for the night? You're playing the Paramount. My first time running a big show at the Paramount Theater was a bit chaotic. 7 o'clock before curtain at the Paramount, I had every single person, security, stagehand, musician, roadie, sound man, light man behind the curtain. And we had a moment of silence.
I'd like to have a moment of silence on the back of the stage right now to remind ourselves why we're here. Today, while we're here, 43 children are going to die of leukemia. And I very much so want a moment of silence for those 43 children who died tonight, because that's why we're here. So please bow our heads for a moment of silence.
I knew once that was over, we were going to have a great show, and that all the bands were going to work together because it all put us together.
I want to thank each and every one of you for your compassion, your enthusiasm, and your professionalism. Tonight is going to be a fabulous night. Congratulations.
Biggest show I ever played. Really excited. Really excited.
I'm really into the Music Coalition because it's going to bring a lot of big industry. It's going to make people open their eyes to see what a great place Springfield really is. And I hope tonight's a real good reflection of that. I'm more just anxious just to see like how many people that I can see from my spot. You know, if we can really fill this place, then that 2,500, then that's $25,000 for leukemia. Right. So that's a real powerful action.
I don't know if we'll sell out, if the place will sell out tonight or not, but if it does, it'll definitely be like a great show.
I mean, we always like walk by this place and we're like, wow, man, we're gonna play here.
I want to play wicked bad. This is gonna be cool.
I better say a prayer or two before we go on.
We're starting late, so we'll be finishing late. It's not good.
Larry wants a cue. He wants to start the show. Let's go.
8 o'clock show. Curtain was at 8:10. Curtain went up. Show started.
Right now, for your listening pleasure, we have the Steve Yeager Quartet.
The performances were awesome.
We always roll deep, a colony of black teeth, scalping whoever that wants to bring peace. Hustling, rap game to snatch and change. Those were the games you played as I think back in the day.
Good, bad, razzle, dazzle on, treat yourself to a dime cigar. Get out that watch and chain, your derby hat and cane. Show me where the good times are.
Primitive Ink was an extremely big draw. That was the key act. I saw John in his shorts that he's been talking about in our meetings.
Well, it felt great to get out there. It was almost like out of the body experience, because it was so fast.
Give her a big round of applause.
Our fans were there, and they would be out in the hallway during other bands' performances and only go in for the band they came to see's performance. And I think a lot of people missed out on a lot of great music. The show was disappointing in the direction that we didn't fill the theater. I fully intended on selling 2,400 tickets. We sold about 1,100 tickets, and I'd say we had an attendance of about 1,000 people. It was disappointing.
We were kind of surprised that they didn't do quite as well as they thought they did, as far as having physical bodies in the theater. But it was their first time, so we're hoping that if in the future we can do something again, they're going to have a lot of experience, because the first time was the roughest. It always is. I think they did real well for first-timers, something this big.
I think the show went well. I think that it's a huge success that we put 14 original local acts on the Paramount stage. We had almost every genre of music represented in our community. that in itself was a fantastic accomplishment for our community, that we could pull together and put a show on like that.
I look forward to working with them again. They really did an awesome job.
I think that the Music Coalition is special to Springfield because never in our history has our artistic community and musical community joined forces to work together on causing a scene and not alone. It gives Springfield a chance to hear what it really is and what it's got.
Take a good long look around you. See, we emphasize the things in life instead of life itself. I thank you for your contribution. And will you trade away your everything to get back someone you lost? 'Cause we all hear the children's cries, and we all share the same desires. We must stand together and fight, for we all drink from the cup of life. We all hear the children's cries, and we all share the same desires. 'Cause we must stand together and fight, 'cause we all drink from the cup of life. We all drink from the cup of life, baby, do it.
The preceding program was funded by a grant from the Springfield Cable Endowment.